Hey, it's Michael, and I wanted to share a story around how I used just blessing a situation to change how I was feeling about it, which ultimately ended up changing the situation altogether. Blessing meaning really thinking about and wanting genuine good for that other person or for that situation, wanting the best for them, wanting the best for others. And so what had gone on was I had this job I loved and I had a great boss and the company did some layoffs. And so my great boss's position got cut. And I ended up being reporting to this guy who he really had a reputation, not a good reputation. He was sort of a hard ass and tough. And I was like, well, I've never worked with the guy. Maybe he and I will get along just fine. That was not true. He lived up to everything I had heard about him within just a few weeks. And I really went from a job I loved to I was miserable. The worst thing was I was mad all the time. It was like I was constantly having these arguments with him in my head. I'd be driving down the highway and I'd just be fuming and I'd be fussing and having these arguments with him. And even just throughout my day, I would find myself just going to this anger. And it just got to this place where daily I was just mad and this level of hatred towards him was just happening. And at that time, I was reading this little book called My Grandfather's Blessings. And it prompted me, inspired me to just really try to bless this guy. Now, if you've ever really been angry and hating someone, which is what I was doing with this boss, to really want to bless them and think well about them and want good for them is not where you want to go. But I just knew the hatred was just, it was affecting me. And so what I did was anytime I would find myself starting to feel the negatives, starting that fight in my head, I would stop myself and I would think of him and I would just genuinely want good things for him. I literally remember I made a list of things I wanted for myself. I don't remember the exact things on the list at this point in time, but it was either just better situation, better money, just a happier life, better relationship, something like that. And I just genuinely wanted all these good things for this guy, right? Now, at first, it was just kind of a lot of work to make myself just put the brakes on because the anger could come up and the hate could come up pretty quick. But I would do it, and I did it just consistent. I would interrupt it. I would picture him, and I would just genuinely try to settle up in my heart a little bit, and I would just genuinely want good things for him. Now, initially it was kind of tough, but then what started happening is my feelings genuinely started shifting. The hatred, the anger started really dissipating. And I found myself genuinely wanting good things for this guy, which from where I was to get to that point was pretty amazing to me. But I just genuinely did. And it really took about 2 weeks for me to go from that place to a better place. Now, I did it really consistent. I mean, it was like anytime it would happen, I would go to blessing him. And that was throughout the day, that was on my drive, wherever that would be. Now, within 2 weeks, something also happened besides I just genuinely started feeling better and wanting good things for him. I, out of the blue, ended up getting this fantastic new boss. So the whole chain of events that took place, I went from, they got rid of my bad boss and they gave me this really great woman and she was a fantastic boss. Now, it wasn't just sort of a coincidence that took place. My blessing him genuinely changed how I felt about the situation and how I felt about him. As I shifted how I inwardly felt, it really did allow what I would call my inherent nature, my God nature, my divine self, I started really aligning with that. And as I did that, I genuinely felt better. Blessing him became easier. Because that part of me, that part of us really can bless situations, if you will, rather easily. It's the non-true self, if you will, or that more part of us that gets wrapped up in our day and in the drama of it all that struggles. But anyway, as I shifted how I felt, the conditions truly shifted, and I ended up getting a fantastic new boss. Now, my goal wasn't to get a new boss. My goal was really I just knew I had to not feel this hatred anymore. And what I invite you to do is just a situation you might be struggling with, I would invite you to just generally start blessing that situation. And if there's people involved in that situation, just genuinely start blessing them. But do it consistent, not just once a day, not just here and there, really anytime and every time. Make it your goal to genuinely feel good about the situation, about them, and want that for them, want that for others, want it for yourself, and do it consistent enough so that you genuinely start feeling different. And what's going to happen is the conditions around you will start shifting. And so think of any situation you're struggling with, really go after it. Really put the brakes on the hate, put the brakes on the anger, and genuinely bless, and see how it changes you, see how it changes your situation. It really made a big difference for me, and I've done it with other examples and situations. I share a few of those in my book, Manifest a Better Life with God. And even life coaching clients, I really have them think of things they're struggling with, and let's just sort of bless it as we work on other things and get more specific about it. I hope that helps, and best to you. Thanks for your time, and I'll talk to you soon.